Well, hello. I Here it's Saturday morning. I think I'm not really sure what's going on at this point. I've had a whirlwind 48 hours. Yeah, it's been a pretty rough 48 hours. I got well, let's see. I went 46 hours without sleep to begin with. Uh, I had my stuff to do, and then I got sucked into a legal mindset stream, and then I got sucked into a Ricada law stream, and then I had to go to work, and then I got sucked into another legal mindset stream, and then I had to go out drinking all night. Um, it's 1 p.m. here, and I feel awful. My eyes really haven't focused yet. I enjoyed my legal vices a little bit too much yesterday and the day before. Um, but I thought this would give me a little bit of motivation to probably come alive again. As the title says, we are going to be looking at Ellen Barkin's testimony and some other testimony, and just kind of make a little quick stream here, just to catch up, because I haven't done any of my own content here for a while. But yeah, this coming off looking a little pink today. My eyes aren't really focused, so I'm gonna have to squint. I have to squint at a lot of these chat things. Let's burn through the comments we've got so far, then we'll hit the Ellen Barkin video. While I hydrate, this is only Coke. The legal vices are done for a while. Ellen couldn't come off more as an old the hag pumped and dumped. Well, she's almost 70 years old. You got to give her a break. Probably not best to stream the same time as Ricada. Yeah. Whatever. This is just me. If I was streaming when nobody else was streaming, I wouldn't be streaming. And Ricada streams like 24 hours a day, so we're all in it together. We're not competition. Oh wait, sorry, skip that. Yes, on drugs one, but Johnny was supporting not only himself but others. Yes. Just as they cherry picked the audios, can't JD do that to remove Jerry? Amber admits there. What's up? I don't know yet. I really, honest to God, don't know what's up yet. I hear music. I wish I didn't. That was really loud. Okay. Time rainbows. Hey, legal vices, have you slept yet? Yeah, I was awake. Like I said, I was awake for 46 hours. I went to sleep about 5 o'clock this morning and woke up at 11. And I actually had like a little bit of a panic attack because I looked at my clock. It said it was like 11 o'clock, and that was way after I was supposed to be at work. And then it took a while for it to sink in that it was Saturday and I didn't have to go to work. So I decided to do this. So you're saying amphetamine is easy to come by in Korea. That would be an illegal vice. Only legal vices here. I'm 42 and I'd throw up and die if I did that. Yeah, it was a night. Last night was pretty rough. What do I got here? I liked your cocktail recipe vids. Old fashioned was great. Yeah, I had no ability to do one for yesterday, but I'll have to do a makeup cocktail later tonight or tomorrow, because I wanted to do one for every day of the week. I got to think. And I know what I want to call it, and I know what I want to do. Daniel, you love seeing me on Racket's channel. I had fun. Like I was unprepared for a full night without sleep. And I just needed a little bit of a warning, and it would have been much better. I could have prepped myself for not sleeping. Anyway, if any of you saw the trial on Thursday, I'm sure you saw the trial on Thursday, and I'm sure you've seen lots of other videos about it. But as you know, Thursday was an incredibly boring day. Most trials are incredibly boring, and that was a boring day in a high excitement trial. So it seemed a little extra boring, but I just kind of wanted to hit a couple of the low points of boring, or the high points of boring, however you want to phrase it. And Ellen Barkin. We got to talk Ellen. She is 68 years old, I believe. As people have pointed out, she hasn't aged particularly well, but I'm I'm the last person that has any right to body shame anyone else. But if anybody is a Dark Crystal fan, and I was a huge Dark Crystal fan when I was a kid. I loved watching the original movie. I enjoyed the Netflix revival of the Dark Crystal. I just wanted to make this comment that Ellen Barkin was supposed to be, and we'll tie this into the Dark Crystal here in just a second. Ellen Barkin was supposed to be the highlight witness other than Amber Heard. She was supposed to be Amber's main star witness to prove that he has been violent. He's been abusive to other people in the past because he allegedly threw a bottle at Ellen Barkin during their relationship. Well, that's not quite how it turned out. She wasn't nearly the help for Amber that Amber thought she would be. In fact, she was a much bigger help, a much better witness for Johnny Depp. And I think she was testifying for 12 minutes or something like that. So it won't be too long, but we can look at exactly how she helped Johnny Depp's case. So maybe she was a sleeper agent because, like I've always said, there's been nobody that's come forward from Johnny's past to say he was abusive. There's been no one to come forward from Johnny's past to say that he was violent. You've got a disgruntled former employee that said, "Oh yeah, he said he yelled at me and called me bad names once or twice." That's it. And Ellen was supposed to be the one that came in and hit it hard and said, "Yes, this is what he did to me. This was the violence. This was it. You know, he's unstable." And I think she was a sleeper agent. This is my conspiracy theory. She's still in love with Johnny, so she portrayed herself as someone who is on Amber's side to get on the stand and derail Amber's trial, Amber's arguments. Man, there's no truth to that whatsoever, but it would make sense. And I'm tying this back into the Dark Crystal because maybe she was like one of the wise old mystics, that just sit and sing and draw art in the sand and weave things there. Ellen Barkin was a wise old mystic that shed light on the truth of Johnny Depp. And I have evidence to prove this. Ellen Barkin is a mystic from the Dark Crystal. Tell me I'm wrong. Is it just me or is she a mystic? Yeah, that's my evidence. Sorry about that. All right, let's hit a couple of the comments and then we'll dive into her testimony and talk about why she was such a fantastic witness for Johnny Depp and not Amber Heard. Where are we? Yeah, nothing like being the living dead at work. I was productive, but it was very, very difficult. I had to work twice as hard to be as productive as I usually am. She's an all-natural 68-year-old. Her problem is that she's a Me Too groupie. I'm here because the shyster lawyer is late and gay. Well, that's his problem. I'll take advantage of it while you're all still here. Hey, Celtic friend, good to see you. Hello, Sandy. It's been a while. Here's a long one. When I hear the defense has X hours left and the plaintiff Y hours, how does that work exactly? This is the first time I've ever actually seen that. I mean, you try to schedule it. You anticipate how many weeks or how many days you're going to need for the trial. This is the first time where I've ever actually seen a trial where there's a hard, fast like game of chess where you hit the clock when it's your turn to cross-examine and when it's your turn to talk to witnesses. She just sets a time. She said, this is the day we're going to finish. There's this many hours between there and then, and you have your time to do it. And I mean, when you're giving your direct testimony, that counts towards your time. When you're cross-examining someone, that counts towards your time. So every time Amber's lawyers or every time Johnny's lawyers open their mouths, that counts against their time. So yeah, and one side could run the clock. I mean, like it's 8 hours to 18 hours left. Amber's lawyers have 8 hours left, and Johnny Depp's lawyers have 18 hours left. And at some point, the judge she said she would do it. She said, if you're in the middle of a sentence, she will cut you off. When your time is up, your time is up. And due to this imbalance of time, Johnny's lawyers could talk for a day and into the morning of the next day, an entire day and up to the morning break for the next morning, without Amber's lawyers being able to say a word other than make their objections, because they have 10 more hours to burn at this point. Which, I mean, it's crazy that they put on all the. That was my feeling on Thursday, was why would they put on all of these witnesses that do nothing, that actually harm their case and just burn through huge amounts of time? But that's what they did, so that's on them. What part of Utah are you from? I am from Logan, Utah. If anybody knows where that is, good on you. It's about 25 miles south of Idaho. It's a fine little town. It's not even from Logan. I'm from like the suburbs of a country city. Oh, we got the angry cars out on the road. Whipplefish, where are you from? That's the question. If you're asking where I'm from in Utah, that assumes you know where places are in Utah. Good night, all. Zoo trip in the morning with a fiance and toddler. Peace. Oh, the zoo trips are awesome. I miss going to the zoo. You're talking to each other there. She's as spoiled as Amber Heard and believes if someone slights her, that's her vicious abuse. She still loves him. Everybody still loves Johnny, apparently. God, Winona, she's saying amazing things about him, and I mean, Amber obviously still loves him, and Crypt Keeper was my first thought. I still think she's a mystic from Crystal, from Dark Crystal. I see Botox. I'm not going to go there. All right, let's jump into Ellen Barkin's testimony and see why she was such a fantastic witness for Johnny Depp rather than Amber Heard, because she did nothing to help Amber Heard's case at all. All right. All righty, where are we here? And separate that window out. Let me full screen that.
Good morning, Ms. Barkin.
Good morning.
I think the first thing that would be very short but very simple and clean for the record is if you could just describe kind of your career background. I know it's very lengthy, but just give a kind of brief summary of kind of when you started working and what you've done during your career.
I used to be somebody. The end.
I started acting professionally about 26 or 7. And I did theater, television, movies, lots of them. That's what I did for 40 years.
And in the course of your career acting in theater, television, movies, etc., did you come to meet a person by the name of Johnny Depp?
Yes.
Can you specify in time, Ms. Barkin, when you met him?
I would say 1990.
And upon or after meeting him, did there come?
Well, I don't know at all. She moves a lot. I can't pause on this picture. It's 1:17 p.m. here, but it's still too early in the morning to see things.
Come a time when you became friends?
Yes.
And can you describe how that happened?
We just developed a friendship over time that Lasted, I guess, if we met in the 90s, maybe 10 years, a little less.
And fair to say that Mr. Depp at the time was also an actor, a professional actor.
Yes.
Were you, did you act in any film, stage, or TV productions with Mr. Depp?
Yes, I was in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
How often would you see Mr. Depp?
When I lived in New York, usually whenever I go to LA, if I were
This
in LA,
is just
I'd
background
see
stuff.
him
No
once a
major
week,
revelations
more.
here.
The friendship went
I used to really like Ellen
up and
Barkin
down,
when I was
living on
young, and
different coasts.
when I was much younger, and she was much
And,
younger.
Did
She was in
there
some really good movies.
come a time when your friendship with Mr. Depp became more than that, became romantic in nature?
Yes.
And at what point in time did
This is interesting. Watch what she does with this romance. I don't think romance is a big thing for her. She uses some weird words here.
your relationship with Mr. Depp take a romantic turn?
After I had moved to Hollywood,
Duck lips. Duck
and,
lips.
he, switched the buttons.
Recall what year you moved to Hollywood?
Yes. 1994.
When you say switch the buttons, can you tell me what you meant by that?
The friendship went from a purely platonic friendship to a romantic.
Okay, so she goes from friendship to romance. Would you say flip the buttons, which is kind of a weird thing. Whipplefish says you live in Kaysville, and your company is in Logan. Yeah. Hopefully I'll be able to travel back home to the States, to Utah, for the first time in 3 years due to COVID. I'm pretty excited about that, just to get out of here for a while. What have we got here? I used to be a Supreme Court justice, then I died. Then they brought me back for this. I can see the Crypt Keeper vibes, by the way, but still think she's a mystic from the Dark Crystal. Retire the North Georgia mountains and loving it. Oh, that'd be nice. The country jam bears are less robotic. She's got a bit of a glitch. All right, yeah, they're scraping the. Jackie says they're scraping the bottom of the barrel for witnesses. They're wasting time, is all they're doing. They're wasting precious time. Ugh. So they've moved on from friendship to romance, and then she says some weird
At
stuff.
that point in 1994, when the relationship turned romantic,
You're not change that to sexual.
to sexual.
Thank you.
That it turned romantic. Can we change that to sexual? That is weird to me. I don't understand. I can't really tell if she's saying that they went from friendship to romance to sexual and the romance died, or if she's saying there was never any romance and it was all just sexual. I don't see what she's saying. I don't really understand what she's saying about that, but that smug look she's got there when she says, "Can we change that to sexual?" That she doesn't equate romance with sex, or in his case, I'm not sure. I don't know, but it's really weird though that she just says that. I mean, what? My head is spinning like 100 miles an hour right now, because that is a weird comment to make, especially in court. Leave it at romance. It's more court-worthy language. We all know what you're talking about when you say a relationship turns romantic, but she wants to turn it sexual. It is just weird, and it's bothered me for 2 days now. that she says things like that. What are your thoughts? I mean, what is she meaning when she says, "Can we stop talking about romance and start talking about sex?" Gee, she's kind of hot back in the 90s. Well, Max Mora, Ellen Barkin, and I, we may have had a few romantic moments together when I was younger, but she wasn't there to enjoy them with me, fortunately. But yeah, she was a hot mom to DiCaprio's character in The Boy's Life. Would smash, didn't recognize her. Thought Johnny was into granny grabbing. Yeah, she's got, you can play with the waddles on her neck. It's kind of sexy, isn't it? Ew, that about sums it up. JD's team would call a witness that cannot be rebutted. So Ellen is 10, she's 12 years older than him. They were involved when he was 30 and she was 40. Yep, that is correct. No, it was purely sexual. Jackie votes for purely sexual, no romance. JD didn't want a relationship with her, but she was pushing hard for it, so she corrected it to just sexual because that's what it was according to JD. All right. I think she wants to deny that he rejected her romantically. It's an interesting dynamic and kind of sad. But now we're getting into the incident where he threw a bottle at her. That's coming up real quick.
For how long did your relationship with Mr. Depp remain sexual?
Several months.
Several months. Man.
Anywhere between 3 and 5, 6.
And during that period, how often would you see Mr. Depp? That period when it was sexual?
So I'd see him 3 or 4 times a week.
And again, I'm not looking to pry into private details, but can you tell me like where you would see him? Just give me some sense of that.
Yeah, he would come to my house or I would go to his house.
And both houses in LA?
Yes, about 10-minute drive.
my friends are doing wellness checks from yesterday.
Either when you were at his house.
People checking to see if I'm still alive.
Where you didn't stay the night, or were you at his house when you did stay the night? Were there other people in the house who saw you there? Who would those people be?
He had an assistant.
Andrew just checked on me.
His sister.
Got to turn off my notifications
That's
here.
all
I can remember now.
Do you recall the name of the assistant?
I don't know his name. He was referred to as
Okay.
He was referred to by whom as Pig?
Johnny Depp.
At any point that you were either initially friends and then sexual with Mr.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you become aware that he drank to excess?
I was always aware.
Okay. And can you explain how you were aware of that?
He was drunk all the time, a lot of the time.
I resemble that remark. I mean, just the way she's testifying. I mean, she clearly, and God, she's saying they haven't been together since 1990. That's 30 years. I mean, she still has a grudge. He's drunk all the time. Yeah, it was just sexual. Yeah, just the way she's answering is like, she's answering like someone who's pissed off at someone, has a grudge. She's got something to prove, and she does that old person thing where it's like, yeah, where you just, everything about her testimony infuriates me. It's pushing all kinds of buttons for me. Just listen, she's snide. Everybody on Amber's team is snide and bitter and angry. Her lawyers, herself, her witnesses, her friends, they're all just these crusty, grumpy, unpleasant people. I feel sorry for Rottenborn. He seems like a pretty good guy. He's just like surrounded by this nonsense. Everybody here is unnecessarily aggressive, angry, and bitter. And it just comes off really, really bad to me.
And that would apply both to when you were initially friends and then later when it became sexual.
Yeah.
And what was he drunk? What was your understanding? What had he drunk to become drunk?
He was a red wine.
What did he drunk to become drunk? What did he drunk to become drunk? Alcohol. That reminds me of a line. I don't know how many of you remember the old series MASH. I'm sure Max Mora does, as he seems to be Not, he seems to be kind of hip on things, but MASH, it was an old American show. There was a line, Frank Burns, one of the doctors in the MASH show, has one of my favorite lines of all time anywhere. It's nice to be nice to the nice. So it's nice to be drunk with a drunk on something.
Okay. In addition to alcohol, were you aware at that time that Mr. Depp was taking any prescription medication?
No.
Why do you have to answer that question
Same
so
question,
aggressively? You can say,
Mr. Barkin,
no, I wasn't.
for
No.
illegal substances.
Yes.
Same question. And what illegal substances?
Hallucinogenics,
Hallucinogenics, like I'm on right now.
cocaine,
What?
marijuana.
Hallucinogenics.
Her expressions
Can
just
you
don't
say
match
specifically
what
what
she's
those
saying.
I don't really
Why would you
know.
say cocaine?
He called me and told me he was tripping.
She needs new glasses. Those glasses don't suit her.
With respect to any of that, hallucinogenics, cocaine, or marijuana,
And Amica
did you
cream.
do any
Lots and
of
lots of Amica cream.
Yes,
more than once?
all the time.
All the time.
When you say all the
Bitch.
time, how many times, again, in the period that you were both first friends and then sexual with Mr. Depp, do you think you saw him?
I couldn't even tell you. I mean, I just know he was always drinking or smoking a joint.
But
Parentheses,
more
he's a
than-
piece of
At
shit.
least dozens of times.
Yeah. Over the full course, oh yeah.
Now, did you ever observe, Ms. Barkin, Mr. Depp's behavior change when he drank more or used more drugs?
I did not.
So he was
That does not help them. They were looking for the answer. He's a pleasant, happy, fun-loving Jack Sparrow. And then he gets drunk and he turns into this vicious, horrible monster. Where she asks, have you seen his attitude change or his mood change or his temperature, whatever the word was that she used, changed when he gets that way? No, it doesn't change. That hurt. That's not good. We've got a few MASH fans here. And Sam says, how dare he have the devil's lettuce? It was interesting to see, like, drunk, he does cocaine and marijuana. She had no it's like a bad animatronic thing going short-circuiting here. Max says, MASH made me realize that a functional still could be made in one's own garage. I'm toying with that idea, actually. JD said he and Barkin had a casual affair while filming. It was just sex, and then she wanted more for him, so she cut her off. See, why be bitter about it 30 years later? I mean, there's only one grudge that I've held for an excessively long period of time, and that was something that happened when I was 8, and the stupid neighbor lady, and I hate her to this day for it. Assuming she's still alive. She was kind of old back then too,
it's
but
kind of the same all the time. Fair to say?
It was not the same. He was high.
Did there come a time
he didn't change. Was he the same? No, he wasn't the
Ms.
same. He
Barkin,
was high.
when Mr. Depp acted in a way that was out of control with you?
Yes.
Care to elaborate?
Mr. Depp threw a wine bottle across the room.
Okay, here we go. This is what they're waiting for. This is why we've had to go on for this lengthy period of time building her background. She was in the press. Ellen Barkin is going to testify. Ellen Barkin is going to testify for Amber Heard that Johnny Depp was this violent person who threw a bottle at her. Now we're to this point. She said that he threw a wine bottle across the room at her. Well, let's get into some more details and see how this story changes, I guess is a good word.
The hotel room on one instance in Las Vegas while we were shooting Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
was something about to happen
A fight was going on.
between you and Mr. Depp?
No,
Who was the fight between?
between Johnny Depp and his friends in the room, the assistant. Honestly, I don't remember.
And
So there was a
bottle
fight
that-
and
do you
did not
remember
involve
seeing if your
her.
name is Barkin, whether the bottle was full of wine or empty?
I don't.
Sitting here today, Ms. Barkin, do you remember whether the bottle hit you?
No, it did not.
Important point number 1. The bottle did not hit her. Let's find out why the bottle did not hit her.
Did the bottle hit anyone else?
No, it did not.
Point number 2. He's in a crowded room full of people, apparently fighting with everyone, friends, assistants, whoever else was there. He's fighting with a crowded room of people. He throws a bottle and it hits nobody. Not her, not anybody else in the room. Why not?
Approximately how far away from you was Mr. Depp when he threw the bottle?
Across the room, so maybe by that break in the table or a little further down. It was a toss.
As Aaron says in the comments here, it was a toss. It wasn't a full wine bottle. It may have been full. We don't know if it was full or empty because she couldn't remember. A wine bottle was not thrown at her. It was not thrown at anybody. It didn't hit her. It didn't hit anybody. It was a toss. And I mean, toss can mean a lot of things, but to me, at least, I mean, you can toss a ball to someone, or you can throw a ball at someone. That's a different thing. I mean, to me, a toss would mean like an underhanded toss. Just I'm gonna toss you this here, catch, kind of a thing. Throwing is a different animal altogether. What Max Moore says here. Where'd you go? Here you go. Yeah. What do I think JD just whispered to Chew? What do you think he just whispered to a Chew? To Chewbacca? Astounding abuse. Yes, it is astounding abuse. You're watching hockey. Molly Midlife is watching hockey. I feel much better than I did when I started this thing here about 30 minutes ago. I'm a little more hydrated than I was. I'm engaging with other humans. I wish I had been watching hockey. I was just kind of shambling about the house like the undead. There's like a walker shambling through my house. Amber no longer has friends. All who testified affirmed. Yeah, isn't that weird? All of her witnesses, like none of them like her anymore. That's sad. MD agrees. Underhand versus overhand. That's what I would say. I guess you could do a sidearm throw too, but yeah, but basically that's what my differentiating thing is: a toss, and it would be a light underhanded throw, not just like women's fast pitch softball underhand throw kind of thing. Toss feels underhanded. Sam also agrees. Sounds like JD throws like a girl. As I just said, it's slow women's fast pitch softball. That's a girl throwing, and those balls come whipping in at 100 miles an hour. So yeah, I've seen some girls that can whip a ball in. So I'm not gonna make that comment, but I know what you mean. Like a sissy. Watching this, I can't remember what happened 30 years ago. I can't remember what happened last night, but that was for a lot of things. But no, I'm the same way. These people that obviously they're refreshed, and people's memories seem to get better as time goes on. They remember more and more details, but that just says they're building stories. Because literally, I have trouble remembering what I had for breakfast yesterday. Did anyone? No, we're getting there. We're getting there. Let's move on with the testimony. Wait, where'd we go?
And
Wow.
Oops.
sitting here today, if the bottle had hit you, would it have injured you?
Sure.
Ms. Barkin, was it your understanding back then that he was throwing the bottle at you?
I don't know why he threw the bottle.
And when he threw it, was it in your direction?
Yes.
Were there other people standing around you?
Yes.
So he threw it in your direction at a group of people.
Yes.
Whose hotel room was it?
His Johnny Depp's.
Who broke off?
He did.
How did it come about that Mr. Depp broke off your relationship?
I went to go home. There was a big goodbye.
So he tossed the wine bottle in the general vicinity of a group of people who he was fighting with, apparently. To me, that sounds like he was arguing with a bunch of people. He had a wine bottle in his hand. That's my whiskey infinity bottle there. He has a bottle in his hand. He's fighting. He gets pissed, and he's just like, "Fuck it, I'm out of here," kind of thing. Just chucks it on the floor and walks away. That's what it sounds like to me. He just kind of, that's all it sounds. That's when you boil it down. That's what it sounds like to me. He's arguing with a bunch of people. He's got the bottle of wine in his hand, and he just kind of tosses it on the floor and walks out. That is the impression I get from what she's testifying. And that is not the most powerful, amazing thing you could possibly do when you're trying to prove that he's this horrific abuser.
Crying, a lot of jealous, and don't do this, don't do that. And I never heard from him again after that.
Yeah.
And did Mr. Depp not want you to go back to Los Angeles at the time?
Yes, he didn't want me to go. I was only supposed to be there for 2 days. I stayed for longer.
And you just referenced, you just used the word jealous. How did that come up? What did he say that?
Jealousy is not abuse.
Was jealous.
He's just a jealous man, controlling. Where are you going? Who are you going with? What did you do last night? I had a scratch on my back.
Who are you? Where were you? Who were you with? What were you doing? Is much different than, hey, what'd you do last night? Oh yeah, who were you with? Oh, cool. What'd you guys do? That it all depends on the voice. So anytime people testify about things like this, I have trouble with, because you don't know what the actual tone of voice was to begin with. Then she's repeating it in the way she recollects, but she's being very deadpan here, which is strange. And then it goes into the written record. So if you're reading it in the written court record, you see something completely different, or it's potentially completely different than what was actually said. Comedian Bill Burr does a thing about it. He does a comedy bit about that, which is sad but true, where he's saying, you got someone you're on a date. It's like, oh, stop. No, stop. Oh, don't do that. Oh, please stop. Oh, no. And then you read it in the court trial records and it's, no, stop. Don't do that. No, stop. That's a little bit different than the way it was said. So this whole, who are you with? What were you doing? That can be incredibly intimidating, or it can be a fun, normal part of conversation.
Back once that got him very, very angry because he insisted it came from me having sex with a person who wasn't him.
During the time that you were in a sexual relationship with Mr. Depp, was it common for him to say things to you about being controlling, to use your words, or being jealous of you?
Yeah, very common.
And when, in these instances, when Mr. Depp became jealous or controlling, did he also become angry?
Yeah. And demanding.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah. Where was I was trying to highlight, I forgot to note the time, but it's, as was mentioned, the part where she is referred to as Mr. Barkin. I mean, that was sad and hilarious. I forgot to timestamp it because I wanted to go back and just hear that a few more times. But I mean, I was on I was on Ricada's stream when that happened. That was pretty funny. Just to get, she was not helpful at all to Amber Heard's case. There was nothing to show any DV claims or to prove anything. They tried to make it as sinister as possible, and they didn't get very far with that. If anything, to me, that is a strong help for Johnny's case. He's arguing or fighting or yelling or having fun or whatever the hell he was doing with a bunch of friends in a room, and he gets to a point where apparently he didn't want to be there anymore, and he just tosses the bottle on the floor. And I mean, if you're talking to people, if you're engaging with people, you're looking at each other. If you toss something in your hand, you're not going to toss it behind you. You're just going to toss it and go, fuck you or whatever. So he's having an argument with somebody, and he tosses, was her word, the bottle, sort of kind of in the general direction of the people directly in front of him, of course. And it hit nobody. If he wanted to throw something at somebody, he could have hit them. He could have hit somebody in the group if they're standing right next to each other. And judging from the way she was talking, they were probably 6 to 8 feet away. That's not a lot. I just don't understand. So I think Ellen Barkin was a huge help to Johnny Depp, just because. Well, and if the jurors are doing their job the way they're supposed to do it and not paying attention, they won't know. But Ellen Barkin was being hyped in the media as one of the gotcha witnesses, and it just was not there. Let's quickly back up here. Here, think fast. Tosses wine bottle. Yeah, that's kind of basically it, And it wasn't even tosses the wine bottle to them. It was just sort of chucks it up. My brother lives in Logan, says Lynn. Logan is a beautiful little town. And I said, I haven't been back in 3 years because of COVID. So it's going to be good to get back this summer for a couple of weeks. Utah is a beautiful state. I love that area. Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, Utah. I think it's just a beautiful place to be. Everybody should go there. They're really grasping at straws, says Jasper. Yes, they are. And again, why are they wasting? Why would you waste 12 precious minutes of your time on that Ellen Barkin testimony when you knew it was going to be, as Prairie Farm Girl says, a nothing burger, useless testimony? That was a waste of 12 minutes of time. And somehow I've wasted like 45 minutes of your time with that 12-minute waste of time. Max Murray once accidentally broke a beer bottle while sitting outside a club in Tokyo, drunk with idiot yelling at me, totally unintentional, but resulted in a perfectly welcome response. Accidental gangbanger. Well, there you go. Whippleface, they're trying to make it out to be a hand grenade. Yeah, and it's not. You don't need to be close. Barkin is angry JD ghosted her after she bored him sexually. But for 32 years, that's a special kind of bitterness. That's a special kind of angry. Sandy says, what did the lady do to you at 8? So memorable still. Oh, no. Okay. She didn't do anything to me. No, it's such a stupid story. But well, you asked, so I'll wait. When I was 8, I was sitting at the house. I was sitting at my house. Everybody was gone. I was home alone, and the neighbor lady up the street calls. I answer the phone, and it was her. And she said, "You get up here right now and clean this up." I said, what? She said, "Don't play stupid with me. You get up here and you clean this off." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You threw eggs at me." She was accusing me of egging her house, like throwing eggs at the side of her house. I'm like, "I didn't do it." She said, "Yes, you did." I said, "Well, no, I didn't." And she kept insisting she was going to call the police. She was going to send her husband down to beat my ass. She was going to do it. And I'm like, who told you I did this? She said, "Well, the a neighbor on the other side of the house said that you did it." And the kid that told her I did it was he was just a pathological liar. And so he said that I had done it, and she was seriously going to call the cops if I didn't come down and clean it up. And me being the smart ass little 8-year-old kid that I was, I told her no. You call the cops, go ahead, because I didn't do it, and I'm not going to come and clean egg off the side of your house when I didn't do it. And of course, she thankfully never did call the police, because that would have ruined my 8-year-old day. But got to the bottom of it eventually. I told my dad and things, and he talked to, because my brother and my older brother and the pathological liar, they were kind of buddy. So my dad kind of did his little work to talk to my brother, who talked to it, and it turned out that the pathological liar that blamed me was the one that did it. And even after it all came out that this pathological liar kid was the one that did it, that woman never apologized to me. She never said, "Oh, I'm sorry." She never said, "Excuse me, I'm sorry I yelled at you." Nothing. And to this day, that pisses the hell out of me. That's like the only grudge I've had for that long. The one thing that triggers me is, I do enough shit that I can get blamed for a lot. But when I get blamed for something I didn't do, that really, really pisses me off. And I think it's probably due to this particular episode. But I told you it was a boring story. I told you it was a stupid story, but I've held a grudge against this woman who is probably dead since I was 8 years old, because she didn't apologize for falsely accusing me of throwing eggs at her house. Tossed wine bottle does not sound to me like a raging wife beater, says Holly Midlife. You are correct. I completely agree with you. I'm not sure what this is supposed to prove. Well, that's what it's supposed to prove, but it doesn't. MD, he only wanted her there for 2 days, but she chose to stay longer. Lady sounds like a stage 5 clinger. ASMR gives me brain tingles, says, it'd be ecstatic if JD was jealous over me. There. I seriously hope that you're a female and I didn't just tickle the ears of another male. Abuse does not equal interest in a person. Yes, there's a lot of that. A bad date gone wrong does not equal that. Asking someone out doesn't equal that. Not being interested in someone doesn't equal that. Thursday was a triggering day in trial for me. It frustrated and enraged me from beginning to end. Tone of voice is completely lost and sometimes embellished in memory, and especially in transcripts. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about there. Mrs. Haversham says she seems bitter, which makes me inclined to take her testimony with a barrel of salt. A huge, huge, huge barrel of salt. Yeah, she just unnecessarily bitter and grumpy. Did you hear about Runky's live stream getting taken down and Joe's right after? Yeah, I was on Legal Mindset and we talked about that a bit last night. Joe has a great Twitter. If you go to Joe's Twitter account, he had a few things to say about that, which I thought was particularly amusing. And he says, Holly, I was literally watching Runkle when the video went down. Yeah, I was trying to work in my stupefied condition. Wasn't he in his mid-20s then? I think he was like mid to late 20s, maybe. I can't remember exactly, and I frankly am in no condition to do the math. That's a coordinated flag attack. Well, now it seems to have spread. There was a lot of gamers I was seeing that were having the problems and other things. So something happened and something got out of control, but it's interesting where it started. Sam Josh says, all of this seems like a Rorschach test. If you like Amber and my believe all women's, you won't budge. And if you're pro JD, it would take a mountain of evidence to show he was abusive. Now, as I've said before, I sort of was believing Amber 5-6 years ago when all this was coming out. I could see in my head, in my own prejudicial view of the world, I could see Johnny Depp maybe being that kind of a person. But then again, no witnesses have come forward since then. Nobody turned on him. All of his ex-girlfriends, with the exception of Ellen, apparently. But I don't think that was a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. All of the real girlfriends that he's had, and wives, none of them have come forward to say anything bad about him. They all say wonderful, good things about him. There hasn't been any evidence she's done. So I very quickly came over to the side that she's probably probably not telling the truth. And now I'm concerned. Now I'm convinced that she's lying. There's no other way to put it. And I at this point, I don't understand how anybody who is watching and paying attention to the trial and the evidence could think that she was being honest. The people that are just, the brainwashed, that just have made up their mind and they don't need to look at the evidence to know what really happened. Those kind of people will never change. Ms. Havisham, I think the way she looks so pickled, she must have just been encased in a barrel of salt before the trial. She looks a tad bit desiccated, doesn't she? Sam Josh says maybe that's more of a statement about the radicalism of AH supporters. Aaron, wow, I just finished it and jumped over to Ricada when the chat started blowing up about it. Yeah, I was catching the LawTube's Twitter feeds and things while this was happening, and I was just at work trying to function. Gonna be driving through that part of the U.S. next week. God, driving through the Rocky Mountains at this time of year is a beautiful thing. I jumped to Arcade and stayed up way too late following that. Says Aaron, crazy how they are attacking these channels. And apparently it hasn't been resolved yet. Does it seem to you like it was client driven on what to include? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Amber is in the driver's seat. Amber is the client. Amber makes the important decisions. That's Critter Watch. You win the comment of the day. Me too, angry feminist. Me too, feminist angry. Yep. Logan is going crazy. That's why I'm leaving the state. Why is Logan going crazy? I hope Logan doesn't go crazy. That's kind of where I have to retire to when I get old. I just want to go back home, be like a bear and crawl in a hole and die. Aaron says they are being hard on the umbrella guy. They're going hard on the umbrella guy as well. Yeah. Again, he and Andrew over at the Legal Mindset were talking together last night, and Tug was saying he's had like 9 videos taken down dealing with this trial. So yeah, I mean, he is good at what he does. He needs to be a private investigator or something like that. That's what he does. Some good deep dives. Okay. You were laughing at me. I was trying to figure out what I had said that was funny, and I realized it wasn't really that funny. Okay. That was good ASMR. Thank you, Holly. By the way, Mandaway cops are still up to their shenanigans. Nobody else in the universe is going to care about this comment, but the Mandaway cops, between my hometown of Logan and I guess it's about 25 miles away is another city of Brigham City, and they're on each side of a range of mountains. And the Sardine Canyon goes between my house and Brigham City. And there's a particular point about right in the middle where there's a huge hill, a huge mountain that goes up, and then it goes into this big dip into a little area called Dry Lake. And then it comes up out of Dry Lake over a pass and then down around. And it's like a descending curve that goes around this town of Mandaway. And I've never checked or figured it out, but there's probably 20 people that live in Mandaway. There's this tiny little lake. I mean, it's just this tiny little valley in the middle of the mountains. And these cops will always sit right on the edge of this curve, and the Mandaway cops will sit right around the edge of the curve. So you're whipping through the canyon and they just nail you. It's a big cop trap. I think the entire town is funded by tickets because you can go through there any time of day or night, and the cop or cops, I'm assuming there's 2, will always have cars pulled over. And end of strange story, but yeah, here I am sitting in Korea talking about Mandaway cops with someone. I think that's pretty funny. If I was on the jury, I'd be angry for wasting my time, and apparently they are. I mean, that's what Runkle was saying, that he said one guy has just 0 fucks left to give and is outright sleeping. Yeah, this is not a good thing for the jury, and that's another reason why I don't understand why they're doing this. This isn't interesting for lawyers. It certainly can be interesting for Joe Schmo on the video. I mean, on the jury. What kind of maritime cases have you taken? Any standouts? We do a lot of boring stuff, contracts, cargo damage, crew injury things, but we do some good ones. Where huge ships collapse, we've got the car carriers that catch on fire. We're dealing now with a case involving a ship that exploded. There's once the Johnny Depp trial is over, I can hit some highlights of some really interesting maritime cases. Sorry to be off topic. Nope. This is law. This is all on topic. I just talked about a Mandaway cop near my hometown. So Mormons on speed is a big problem as well. Well, more of course. Mormons speed more when there's no other people around. That's the old saying here is like, how do you stop a Mormon from drinking your booze? Invite 2 Mormons over. You keep each other in check. No one wants to be seen as the one that's off the reservation. Willfish, cost of living has skyrocketed. Yeah, as bad as the rest of the Wasatch Front. That's too bad. I need to go back home. I'm sure you never got a speeding ticket in Korea on your motorcycle. I have never gotten a speeding ticket in Korea on my motorcycle for 2 reasons. One, police don't pull people over here. Everything, the traffic cops, they don't flip on their lights and pull you over for speeding. That just never happens. And the second reason is most of it's camera driven, front facing cameras. And there is no license plate on the front of a motorcycle. So I've never actually have gotten a speeding ticket in Korea on my motorcycle. I've got a shit ton of speeding tickets in my Jeep. Did you get to deal with the Russian ship that hit the Diamond Bridge? That was a fun day. There's a bridge right outside my window. I'm looking at it now. And if you heard the angry car a while ago honking, that was honking on the bridge. But yeah, there was a drunken Russian captain who somehow, and that was one of the cases that I want to get to after we finish the Johnny Depp trial. He came out of a port and somehow flipped a U-turn and drove his gigantic ship into the bridge that's here next to my house. I was in my office and I started getting phone calls from people going, did you see this? Did you hear about this? And we actually, and somehow when he was coming out of the dock, he clipped a couple of yachts that were there before he did his U-turn in his ship and drove it into the bridge. And we represented the owner of the yachts that got damaged. Mormons on speed. Back for 2 boomer era questions. Did you ever hear of Michael Marin from the 90s? Solomon Brothers. Why is this ringing a bell? Former Mormon, Google for his 2009 case, arson. Down cyanide after verdict announced. No. I guess it's ringing bells that don't exist. Do you have an opinion on Marbury versus Madison? You should talk to Nick to get freedom pilled on the judicial review. If not, do we need an opinion on Marbury versus Madison? Some 200 and however many years later, it's I'm a libertarian, not a crazy Alex Jones tinfoil hat wearing libertarian. I'm a strict classic libertarian. I'll pay my taxes. You build the roads and supply the schools and leave me the fuck alone. So I'm a big states' rights thing. I think the less federal government is involved is a good thing. Leave me alone. Just government, leave me alone. I'll pay my taxes and be a good boy. Leave me alone. That's where I first heard the term for former LDS Jack Mormons. Yeah, that's the term of choice. Or I think now we're lapsed Mormons, I believe. That was a little bit of a break to cleanse the palate. What I want to do now, there's no way I would show the whole thing. This was just funny because of the comments that were made. This witness here, let me bring her up nice and big, just because we need to.
investigate more, but you do have the visible injury and, you know, evidence of some type of struggle. So they would need to try to get that probable cause to determine that it was a crime.
This is a really, really bad virtual background. I think virtual backgrounds should be banned. I mean, that's bad. And she's got face filters on, and this just looks horrible. And Alita over at Legal Bites made one of the best comments that I've seen.
It created that injury.
There were a number of questions asked.
For those of you that are computer gamers, Legal Bites, she said it is something along the lines of, it's so cool that we allow NPC characters to testify in court now. I mean, she does look like a bad video game character.
If observed property damage, back and forth, and both of us have asked you a lot of questions about that.
Tell me she doesn't look like an NPC from a
And
game.
So I just want to make sure that it's very clear. If a police
And the other one I just wanted to touch on just real quickly was Wald Mignon. Where are we here? Was he in the morning? Yeah, he was in the morning. This is brilliant testimony, even though people don't think it's brilliant testimony. Probably a key. I mean, they were coming hard on Waterman. They were gunning for him hard, and they still are. But again, he did not help their case. They want to hold him responsible for everything that Johnny Depp has ever said or done. But he had a good lawyer. He followed his lawyer's advice, which I believe may have been Chu, to not answer the questions. If your lawyer tells you don't answer the questions, don't answer the questions. If your lawyer tells you to shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. And that's pretty much what he did.
I would not be able to answer without doing so. So I accept the instruction.
Okay, and then Mr. Bishop says, and this is on 1/28/2020, Adam, I can confirm a meeting with the Mail Online for Monday, 17 February at 10 a.m. You see that?
I do.
So did you in fact have a meeting with the Mail Online on 17 February?
I couldn't say sitting here now definitively.
Oh, I seem to have picked the only part of his testimony where he actually talked.
I see this, and it wouldn't surprise me if we had.
And was Mr. Depp with you when you had the meeting?
I believe Mr. Depp was with me. When
I
always view this as one of her central claims. It was the one she put on the cover of People magazine. It's the one she led with when she went to get her temporary restraining order. The phone to the face incident on May 21st, 2016. That's her claim, and that she was further beaten by some appendage of Mr. Depp in the face, and her hair was pulled. And she showed up on the 27th in court with a lot of bruises on her face. So there are.
I've seriously just randomly clicked to the two parts where he actually said anything.
Trained female police officer who testified over and over.
I mean, he's a lawyer. He's got a lawyer, and he's smart enough to pay attention to the lawyer.
Claimed was destroyed. That's a direct quote. Destroyed. There are, I can think of, 9 other witnesses.
Oh, come on, me.
Columbia building, and a friend of Ms. Heard's also. Cornelius.
Wilford says Chu isn't Waldman's lawyer. I thought he was the one that was advising him not to answer the questions in this, during the deposition.
Met with Ms. Heard on the 27th.
I guess I'm wrong.
Of May, which meeting was captured on CCTV also. Alejandro Romero, who I believe is head of security at the Eastern Columbia building. And I think Brandon Patterson.
And I think this is I was just in my head, he didn't answer any questions. So that's why I just randomly chose parts of his testimony so you could hear him continually refusing to answer questions, which was a smart thing to do. He refused to answer 75 questions.
Of May.
I mean, to the point where
then
the replies were literally same objection, same reasons. And there was, I mean, he didn't answer 75 of the questions, and Elaine was still pounding him with the questions, and he was refusing, and she would ask more questions and refusing. So again, they wasted their time on a guy who didn't answer 75 questions, and nothing he testified to was really damaging. So all they've got is the jury wondering why this guy was brought in as a witness. He didn't answer any questions, and the ones he did answer weren't particularly damaging. Waste of time, makes the jurors unhappy, and it is pointless. It was infuriating for me to watch, and I was having fun. Like, to be a juror trapped in there who can't do anything else other than sit there and watch this video. Not a great way to manage the jury's impression of your client or your case. Where are we at here? Max Murrah likes the glasses. She looks like a GTA NPC I'd accidentally run over. Don't kill people. That was a joke, Feds. Waldman was funny. He was a good witness. He was sharp. Again, I like the lawyer. I like the lawyer bit was kept in on his depot. Yeah, you've got to keep the objections in on the video. That's part of it. Yeah. Critter Watcher, yesterday seemed like such a waste for Amber Heard. I imagine it's not too often that the plaintiff makes gains on the defense witnesses. Yeah, unless they completely fall apart, unless somehow you completely blow a witness out of the water. But they didn't. This was just straight up testimony that was beneficial to Johnny, not only in the content, but in the way it was presented. Every witness. And then you had the psychologist guy that it looked like he'd taken some of his own meds. Who he just mumbled his way through his testimony. And he's like probably the last person I would ever go to for mental health advice. And you've got the NPC character. It's just nothing went well. Nothing was presented well. And what was presented, the stories, the details were bad. It's just crazy. Attorney-client privilege. Yeah. Sam Josh, some appendage. I did like that. We're just talking about, some appendage. Maximum Google Free saying, yeah. So let's see. He was doing deposition. Yeah. So that's what I thought. I thought that Walterman was doing the deposition for Walterman, but I guess I could be wrong. I don't know. Can you adjust it up? Nah, it's pretty quiet on this side. Yeah, I was trying to get to the point where he just one after the other, just same objection, same reason, and Walterman said, "I'm following the advice." It was like it was stuck on a loop, and I apparently missed every one of those 75 times in my random sampling of video. Holly Midlife says this part was trying to prove the damages from JD, the hit pieces. To me, it seemed the hate she got was pretty organic. Stories had leaked about her during the filming of Aquaman and that she broke. Yeah. There was a lot of anti-Johnny Depp press at that point in time. And then when people that knew him started to come forward, and then when people started looking at it, it was kind of an organic thing. I believe I don't think there was any concerted effort on the part of Johnny Depp to rouse anti-Amber feelings, because you don't need to with that. It just, I mean, my first reaction would be to ignore it and hope it goes away, not immediately start on the counteroffensive, which is kind of what he did. He hoped it would go away, tried to deal with it, and then several years later, he'd had enough, and that was it. And then he started taking action in the legal side of things. Up JD and his wife, a homewrecker. Yeah, he was, but is JD's lawyer for the deposition. Yeah, that was what I was saying. Elaine is pushing it too much. Elaine has a lot of problems. They talk about her being the super lawyer and having all these super lawyer tags. I haven't bothered to go to her website to see what these super lawyer designations are. So I don't know if this falls into the category, but I get probably 5 or 6 emails a week saying, you've been chosen to be in who's who of lawyers. You've been chosen to be in the super lawyer category in some deal. You've been chosen for this. You've been chosen to be recognized for this. And they all end the same way. Send us $300, or we'll give you a plaque for $300, or $500. You can take out a quarter-page ad in this magazine to say you're into this book to say how awesome you are. It's all about you. You pay them money and they give you these titles. But I don't know if that's exactly what she has. But yeah, designations like super lawyer and stuff don't really mean a lot, regardless of whether or not it was paid for. Elaine is pushing it too much. She's just going to get a bollocking from the judge at some point. They've had some pretty animated discussions with the judge when she gets out of line that way. When they run out of time, they will have to duct tape her mouth when they do. Yes, she's going to run out of time soon, I hope. Well, she's got 8 hours left. There's a week of testimony and she's got 8 hours left. That's like 2 hours a day. It's not a lot, especially if they plan on cross-examining, if she plans on bringing in Johnny Depp as a witness. That 2 hours for the day is going to go quick. They're going to try to burn as much time from Elaine if Johnny Depp is put on the stand for her side of the case as possible. They had to, because Amber Heard's counterclaim hinges on Waldman's acting on Johnny Depp's behalf. Her counterclaims are dead in the water. Legal Mindset he had a good stream last night about why her counterclaims are going to be dismissed. The ones that haven't already been dismissed. The psychologist was guessing at what his notes. Oh, God, that psychologist was bad news, man. And that was, he was like reading his notes. To said high anger, anxiety, looking, window, dogfish, Burger King. What did that mean? I don't know. I mean, that's not testimony you want. That does nothing to help you. Like I said, I mean, as lawyers, we were trying to figure out what this guy's purpose was. And again, as a juror, you don't want your juror to be saying, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And why is he on the stand? That is not good for your case. Elaine is determined to undermine LAPD as incompetent. RADV investigation at the penthouse. Yeah, and we saw how that they handled that on their failed testimony before. I mean, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. We've got the body cam footage. There was nothing exciting on the body cam footage, and four police officers. There's a little more. 4 officers over 2 separate calls is a lot more difficult to overlook than a single police officer with no body cam going and not making a report. You can criticize that, but 4 doing the same thing is really hard to criticize. Now trying to connect JD to Waldman's actions as defaming vicariously Amber. Yes, that is correct. That's what they're trying to do. And which is the same thing as what she's not getting every time Amber says, well, I didn't leak this. Well, no, maybe you personally didn't, but your agent did. Agency is a big thing. Whatever your agent says is the same as you saying. Whatever your agent does is the same as you doing it, essentially. And they're trying to show that all of his statements and all of his actions were for and on behalf of Johnny Depp. Nancy has a laughing face about something. Hope it was something I said. For $30, you can make your own plaque. Yeah. But it doesn't get shown to the world, and you can't put a notice about it on your webpage. Amber takes offense at suggesting that JD got her Aquaman role, but provides testimony stating the studio had concerns about her chemistry with Jason Momoa. Johnny can draw out the time without difficulty. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He doesn't, even for his own lawyers, he doesn't answer questions shortly and concisely. He can burn her time big. Elaine's redirect of H was horrible. Oh yeah. H stormed out of court before the jury left. Yeah, I was going to do that for my next little live stream. We're just going to go over how bad that redirect was. And I'm not, I mean, it was bad. It was 30 minutes of bad. And by my count, I think Elaine managed to get answers to 6 questions in 30 minutes. The rest were objected to, and objected to hard by superstar Camille. So we'll look at that the next time I'm on here. Was that psych the defense witness or Johnny's? Well, it was the defense witness, but it was also Johnny's witness. That was awful. That was just awful. Elaine got roasted with objections during the deposition, just like she did during the trial. Maybe she's saving her Perry Mason moment for closing. Well, you have to have the Perry Mason moment. And for those of you that don't know who Perry Mason was, TV lawyer, and it was always, you wrap up the case in 30 minutes with the dun 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 thing at the end where it gets caught and forces the person to admit to what they did. You're looking for the gotcha moment, the Perry Mason moment. You need to have that before you get to the closing so you can talk about it during your closing. There's nothing here. This is just sad. I mean, with this low on time, this late in the trial, anything you had should have been on the table by now, I think. Oh, we missed the first part of this. Georgiana Archer says she'll tell them, so if you're a super lawyer, you get to wear your knickers over your trousers. That's a good one. All right, I got to say, I really love your way of expressing your views and legal commentary. Your voice is so unique. My voice is unique? Seriously? It's getting late for me, and I have work tomorrow, so good night, chat. Good night, Sam. I hope you're around here still, so you heard me say goodbye to you. And thank you for the comment about the voice. And Critter Watcher, in possible defense of Psych, he didn't want to have to testify regardless of HIPAA. He knew he had intentionally taken a few vague notes in case questions were ever asked. Intentionally took vague notes so he couldn't talk about it, or he could at least pretend not to know about it. That's interesting. I was just trying to think if I've ever intentionally taken vague notes. I haven't, because I'm a much better lawyer than that. But no, yeah, I mean, that could be. I don't have any reason to particularly say no. I'm old enough to know who Perry Mason was on reruns. I think it was all pretty much reruns for me too. Or it was at the very, very end of the series. Critter Watcher, that makes a lot of sense. It does. I mean, because I don't have enough of a feeling to say there's no possibility that happened. So, can Waldman Depp be vicariously tied for defamation in jury instructions? Court TV says yes. Heard win. That's a good question. I mean, if he was acting as Johnny Depp's agent, or whatever term you want to use to describe acting on Johnny Depp's behalf, the statements he made would be or could be considered the same as Johnny Depp doing it, if not actively disavowed. If I say this person can say or do this, and then this person says or does something else, and I don't say anything, I can be giving my consent by remaining silent. I mean, if someone says, hey, I'm doing this, and I know I didn't tell them to do that, then I should say, you be very vocal, but no, this isn't me. I did not do this. This is him acting rogue. But I don't think, even if he gave some horrifically damaging testimony, I don't know if the jury would even catch it or pay attention to it. Camille was amazing. Camille is awesome. I hope she does closing arguments, but for God's sake, don't read them like you did the opening statements. Her opening statements were very, very good. It's just they lost all of the impact because she read them. And she has changed so much with her style and tactics since the opening. She's going to be a super lawyer in like a legit, real sense of the word. Camille was amazing, cool, smart, and confident. She did not get intimidated by Heard at all, that's why I wanted to do the closing, so she can sort of punch it home and bring it home. Critter Watcher, I recently retired from a sensitive area, and when I went for a brief period of counseling, I requested minimal notes, not put into any electronic medical record. I didn't know you could do that. Huh. Nancy, have you seen the new Perry Mason on Amazon Prime? Oh, there's a new Perry Mason. Okay. Lawyer-client more if the parts that are attorney-client privilege, no. I mean, they should never be in a deposition. You should always say they're attorney-client privilege. But yeah, that's there's very few things that are more sacred and protected than lawyer-client privilege. Your lawyer-client privilege, your medical. There's really very, very few things in law that are absolutely protected from other people's prying and business, and that's one of them. Whipplefish says is talking about the Perry Mason series. It's a prequel series on why him and how he became a defense lawyer. Oh, cool. Might have to. Who's the actor that's playing Perry Mason? I'll have to check it out. Psychiatrist holding back info deliberately. Yeah, he was. It was a mess. That whole day was an absolute mess. And it was like I was trying to put together what should I talk about, because I haven't put any content on my own channel because I've been bouncing around other people's channels as I get introduced into the world of the law tubes. But I was thinking, I was going through the whole test. There's nothing I can say about Thursday's hearing, Thursday's day of the trial that would be of interest in any way. It was a snore fest from beginning to end. So I just to throw up a few really bad things that came off that were supposed to be good for Johnny. I mean, good for Amber, and came off being good for Johnny. And Ellen was the big one. And Walter Mignon is he came to be known thanks to Amber Heard. The 75 objections and Elaine still pressing forward, trying to get an answer when she knows she's not going to get one. And the NPC character was so distracting. Psychiatrist guy was awful. And there was there was some other woman that looked like she was testifying from an art studio. I can't even remember who she was or what her role. It was such an unforgettable day, except for the things that went really badly for Amber Heard. Matthew Reed, okay. Dr. Mommy, Jasper misses Dr. Mommy. Dr. Mommy's coming back. And I want them to use the extra 10 hours they have to just put her on and let her hammer. And that's what you would want to do. You want to get them to burn as much of Amber's time as possible, so there is very little time left. And then you unleash Dr. Mommy on the stand for 10 hours, 12 hours, knowing that she is going to brutalize Amber Heard's case, the opinions of the other psychiatrists and doctors, and Amber's team is not going to have any time to respond. That's how I want that to go down. And we'll see if that's how it goes down. Whipplefish, I need a proofreader before posting. I'm not a grammar policeman or a spelling policeman. I don't give a shit about my own text when I send them, and people complain about you have all these spellings. You're a lawyer and you have all these spellings. When you're paying me $400 an hour, then I'll care about my spelling and punctuation. Thank you, guys. Yeah, Dr. Mommy's coming back hard. Amber and Ellen is going to be known as the two salty wenches that couldn't hold Captain Jack Sparrow. I hope somehow this all works out, and I mean, the Pirates series was kind of getting a bit long in the tooth, getting a bit old, but I would go back and I would start watching them again if he came back. We need to patch things up. I know he wouldn't do it for $300 million and a pack of alpacas, but I hope it comes back. Let's hope she brings them all up. I'm seriously, that's what I was talking about on Legal Mindset the other day. I think it would just be hilarious if her husband brought muffins to everybody in court, or at least the lawyers. That would be beautiful. Yeah, that's what I want. It really helps if one gets a cheat sheet of BPD and especially HPD behaviors when watching trial, especially with regards to Amber Heard. I might have to do that. The distinction, you got to keep those distinctions in mind, and if you can go down and listen to everything and check off the points that the witnesses are hitting. Bet you one could play BPD bingo. Yeah, it'd probably win the game pretty quickly. A perfect story arc. Yeah, that would be great. I would just love that. Yeah, no food allowed. I mean, I wonder where they draw the line on food. I mean, you couldn't just like bring in a bag of potato chips and just sit and crunch them during trial. But she is allowing gummy bears. So, I mean, where do you draw the line? Like nerds, Smarties, Snickers. I mean, candy bar, would you be able to munch on a candy bar in her court, or is it just like limited to? I mean, is there a size limitation? Now you've got me like wondering about things. This was an evil post because my mind wanders down. I wonder where lines are drawn. JD broke into Jack Sparrow character for a fan at street exit. Ah, oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's what we're saying. It's like we got the gummy bears, and I'm a huge gummy bear guy. I love gummy bears. Yeah. But where do we draw the line? What's not acceptable food? I mean, I've never been in a courtroom where they allowed you to have gummy bears. Water and coffee has kind of been it. Marijuana gummies. Yeah, he's bringing edibles to the trial. Nice. Planet Serpo, you saw me on Nick. Thanks. I'm just kind of rambling here, seriously, and the fact that there's still 31 of you here listening to me ramble is pretty funny. I ate half a bag of gummy bears. Now, there's a bag and there's a bag. A half a bag at my local convenience store has about 30 gummy bears in it, but Costco sells a 5-pound bag of gummy bears. So when you say you ate half a bag of gummy bears last week, what, if anything, did you mean by that, Nessie? What, if anything, was in that bag of gummy bears? Fess up. You can't say you ate half a bag of gummy bears and not define what half a bag is. Half of, you got a 5-pound bag. I eat gummy bears way too fast when I get them. So one, I try not to have them in the house. But if I do, like to get the 5-pound bag and you put them in the freezer, you got to freeze your gummy bears. They're no longer gummy at that point, but you freeze them so they kind of melt in your mouth and they get chewy over time. So it takes longer to eat them. That's my secret to not eating a 5-pound bag of gummy bears in one sitting. The judge keeps a bag of munchies under a robe. And I've seen Amber. I think she took a couple of bites of something when she was on the stand. And it must be nice to be the judge in this, where you're on camera very, very limited amount of time. So you can pretty much probably do it. Well, it's your courtroom. You can do anything you want anyway. Peach rings. All right. 5 pounds. You've got diabetes. Oh, all about the Swedish fish gummies, not the new ones. Planet Serpo. I don't know how old you are, but when I was a kid, they were the Swedish fish were a penny a piece, and they were big. I mean, they were big fish, good size, about that big. Now they're just these little tiny things, and they're expensive. The old school penny gummy Swedish fishes were awesome. There was a wow. I cannot believe I'm here keeping you guys up at night or outside in the afternoon or early in the morning talking about Swedish fish and gummy bears. But thank God you're all here. Bolivian marching powder. Woo! Galaxy chocolate. Nessie says, I don't eat them all in one sitting. Well, you ate half the bag, so apparently you eat them in 2 sittings. Yeah, we're talking about munchies here. Your mom used to get them in your 30s, so I would have been, yeah, you still got the smaller version. They used to be just huge. And they're a penny piece. And we'd walk down to the store from my grandma's house. She'd give us $1. Me and my sister, my brother, we'd go there and just get like 100 like fish, and had raspberries, little gummy raspberries and things. As Swedish fish were good in doses, gummy bears all day long. I like the Swedish because they had that kind of, it wasn't a crusty outside, but it had like the little film over the top. It was kind of fruity. I like those. Don't get a fat guy talking about his gummy bears. And if you can't see, I'm in a Godzilla mood today. Got the Godzilla shirt on. We got the poster back there and the street sign. Actually, that is actually like a legitimate Godzilla road sign. It's reflective. My friend that lives in Japan sent that to me. You could actually, and it's got the bolts for mounting it to a side. You could put that out on a street corner somewhere. That's a legit road sign that I love. Wow, we're just wandering all over the place today. There's nothing to talk about from Thursday's trial. So tomorrow, probably, if I'm certainly not going to be doing anything with my particular legal vices this evening because I still have to recover from yesterday. So probably I'll be back like early, probably about the same time tomorrow, maybe a little bit earlier, a few hours earlier if I wake up. To go over the last 30 minutes of the redirect of Amber Heard, but there's just so much nothing to talk about from Thursday's trial. And I haven't really got into what's happening with some of the other channels. I mean, as far as being pulled down I just know what they've said. So I really can't comment on that too much. So I just wanted to pop in and say hi, let you know I'm still doing stuff here on my channel and appreciating everybody that stops in. And we're just kind of rambling, having a good discussion here. Are you going to make a stop at Nick's stream next week? I hope because that was fun. That was a good time, and it certainly didn't hurt my subscription numbers. Oh, and if anyone here has not subscribed, please do it. It's fun. Come back. We actually talk about important stuff sometimes, just not today. The Koreans will love that. A Japanese Godzilla sign, that is. Yeah, we have our own version of Godzilla here. Yeah, I wanted to toss you a super chat, but evidently can't yet. Yeah, I'm really far away from monetization at this point. To get monetized, I've met every other requirement for monetization. You just need 4,000 viewing hours. So unless 4,000 people subscribe and watch 1 hour of my video, it'll take a while to get to the 4,000 hours, at least a few months. So when I am monetized, hey, throw money at me. I won't say no. That's where I draw the line, and I will not say no to money. But until then, pledge away. You can pledge me $10 or $5, and apparently that's the same as paying. So yeah, go ahead, everybody, make your pledges now. Now I want gummy bears. Damn it. Planet Serpo asks how I know all the other law tubers. Well, I was just watching like Andrew's things over Legal Mindset for a while, and then he was talking about Korea, and then I realized he was in Korea, and then I just kind of hit him up, and we were talking. We've hung out together a couple times. We're just close to each other geographically. So yeah, we started hanging out, and he kept saying that I should probably join in the YouTube stuff. He said, you'd like people would like you. You've got things to say. And if you've looked at my videos, I have ancient videos from my motorcycle that were filmed with like potato cam 15 years ago. So I had a channel then when I was the president of a motorcycle club here in my younger days. And so I left those videos. They've been on for like 13, 14, 15 years, just kind of sitting there. And so I had the channel. I said, all right, well, we can do this. So I put my little broadcasting system here together, and I did it. And yeah, Andrew was kind enough to let me go on Legal Mindset and join him and pick up a few subscribers there. And then he said, let's go meet Nick the other day. So that's how I met Nick. And it's an amazing community. It really is. They're a great group of guys, a great group of men and women. And by guys, I mean, guys, not men. Great group of people. And there's my feeling. This is just my initial gut feelings. There's no real competition, fighting involved. It genuinely seem to be all very friendly with each other, helping each other out, cooperating with each other, collaborating with each other. It's a really, really amazing group. And of course, right now, the Legal Bites channel is the holy grail of where you want to be streaming these days. And I'd be more than happy to go on anybody's stream at this point. And when I get enough subscribers and enough people are paying attention to me, assuming that ever happens, then it'll be fun to have people on my channel. But if I had people on my channel now, that would just mean they weren't watching their channel, because I am at the bottom of this LawTube totem pole. So that's kind of it's just grew organically through friendships. And I spent lots of time watching legal things on YouTube, and now I'm part of it. It's kind of weird. It's kind of fun. How many hours so far? That's a good question. We can find out. Let me whip this up here. The last update, it was not very much. Let me see here. Manage. What do we got going here? We have currently, for monetization, 344 hours. So approximately 9,666 hours. Well, not 3,000. 3,666 hours are still necessary. So it'll be a while. I'm guessing at least 3 months. That's sort of my target. Carl's KTX, have you been over to see the sand sculptures on Hand Day? That's actually where I'm going right after I get off here. You kind of shower up, and then get the stash looking a little bit. And then they're having these huge sand sculptures over on the beach. That's just on the other side of the river here from me. And I've seen the initial pictures. They look absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to go over there and actually do a blog of the sand sculptures that are over on Hand Day Beach. I mean, I watched them pouring like just dump trucks full of sand. I mean, they're huge, and there's going to be some really, really neat looking sand sculptures. So yeah, I'm going to head over there, and I'll hopefully post that later tonight, or more than likely about this time tomorrow. Do we get a cool story? A cool story about what? I have stories. I don't know if they're cool. I subscribed after I saw you on Nick's stream. Thank you very much. You pledged $5 Canadian. Great. Thank you for the pledge. I appreciate all of your pledges. And I'm kind of expecting to get paid about the same time the ACLU and the Children's Hospital is. But hey, get to grifting on Nick's channel. Yeah. That's kind of the plan, and I can't wait till the grift gets me more than pledges. Desperados. Andrew cracks me up. Yeah, that was kind of why he was saying. He said, I mean, we're just laughing and having a good time together. He's like, you need you think like me. I need the help. I need the backup. So that's kind of where I came in. Biker OG. Yeah, that was a while. That was a while ago. Man, why did you decide on Korea? Well, as a lapsed Mormon, it's a thing. If you want to do missionary work, you can go be, you've seen, everybody's seen the white shirts and black tags and backpack carrying Mormon missionaries. I was one of those at 19, and I wanted to be a missionary. So you submit your application, and then the church headquarters will say, okay, you've been called to serve a mission at this point. Do you want to accept? And when I was 19, I did that, and they assigned me to Korea. They assigned me here to Busan. So I came here, did my 2 years as a squeaky clean little Mormon missionary, and then I went back to Utah State University, where I did my undergraduate work to continue my education. And I was there 6 months, and my university and Busan National University made a sister school relationship where we had to start sending students back and forth, and they were terrified at my university that nobody would want to go to a university in Busan, Korea for any reason. And my advisor, who was the dean of the humanities college, said, wait a minute, I think I know someone that might want to go to Busan, Korea. So I was tapped on the shoulder for that, and I came straight back here to do about 2 years as a foreign exchange student back in Busan, Korea. And then I actually studied for the LSAT, the law school test, while I was here as a student. And then I went back, took the LSAT test, did my last year of university, and went on to law school. And I wanted to go be a public defender, or I either wanted to be a public defender or a lawyer in Korea doing commercial law things, because I figured I spent 4 years in the place speaking the language. I might want to use that. But I really wanted to go into the public defender's office to start off with. But the Korean lawyer tapped me on the shoulder for this first, and so I came here, and I've been in Korea since September of 1988, with the exception of my senior year of university and law school. So it'd be 34 years coming up in this September. So that's how I decided on Korea, and that's why I'm here. Law tabling life of justice for Johnny Depp has been strange. This whole trial has been strange. It's relaxed and fun, but informative. Yeah, it's nobody's. Well, you'll notice that there are a few lawyers on YouTube that aren't part of this group, and I think there's reasons. You got to be fun. You got to be fun and informative, and nobody has an ego. Even people that deserve to have an ego don't have one. It's fun, it's nice, it's relaxing, and it's friendly. Law tubers are human too. Yeah, you don't want to be like an animatronic Ellen Barkin. Me and Legal Mindset enjoy the cuddle struggle. No. What if Andrew did a sort of barn raising, a web stream-a-thon, as many of us? Yeah, well, I don't beg, but I don't reject. And he got me my first 1,400. So I mean, he kicked this off for me. Anything that happens is because of him, and due to him. So yeah, Andrew really helped me out. First of all, he convinced me to do it, and then he set me up. So I do appreciate him. I tell him enough, and I owe him mega pints next time we get together after he gets back from the States. I hear you with the YouTube grind, 100%. Keep at it. You have a great personality. I'm almost at 500, and it's been 2 years, but people will help find you. Great. Well, we'll have to add people, because I've just been so big. My goal at this point is, and it's a sad thing, and I feel sorry for the commenters, but I want to get to the point where I have way too many people and I can't respond to each and every comment. I think I've been responding to every comment so far that's been left on my videos. How do Korean people view the USA? Are we cool? Yeah, we're cool. I mean, yeah, that's cool. No problems. It's going to be a great blog. I'll be over there tomorrow. Well, you'll be able to see it first here, maybe, depending how late I get back tonight. Maiden Iron. Nice. I have neighbors that are missionaries right now. Also, my uncle is a bishop in Richfield. I'm sorry he's in Richfield. Richfield is a small, dusty place. My my older brother's ex-wife lives in Richfield, so that's kind of why. Well, if he's an uncle, and if your uncle's a bishop in Richfield, he may know her. My college boyfriend taught English in Busan. Cool. There's a lot of English teachers here, and they all disappeared during COVID. Most of them, because it just stopped happening. School stopped happening. But people are starting to come back. People and businesses and tourists are starting to come back. Do I speak Korean? Yes, I do. I've been here for 34 years. But it's like anything. Anybody that speaks a second language knows, like, the more you know, the more you learn, the more you realize you have no clue. When you become fluent, you realize how unfluent you are. When you start with a second language and you can say the pencil is on the desk, or where is the bathroom, you feel like you're on top of the world. Then you realize. So as far as foreigners concerned, I'm hyper fluent. As far as Koreans are concerned, I'm probably not. So I that's why I was kind of balk when people say, are you fluent in Korean? Well, define fluent. Basically, yes, but you can never be perfect if you're not born to a language. So I do speak Korean, and I tend to over-explain. I'm kind of like Johnny Depp that way, I guess. Good morning, evening from Utah. Josh Jack Zone, where are you from here? Do you think the judge will dismiss Amber's counterclaim? Yes, I do. I don't even think it's going to get to a jury. If it does, she's not going to win. But I think most of them, I think she came in with initially 4 or 5 points for a counterclaim, and most of them, they've already been dismissed, really. So I think they're going to get dismissed. As soon as she finishes her case, they'll make the motion, and hopefully that will do it. What, if any, impact has living here had on your family? Vacation is reunion every time. Basically, my family never did reunions. All the extended relatives kind of hate each other. But for my family, yeah, it is. It's my son is 21, and I haven't seen him in 3 years because we've been stuck here. So we missed the first drink together, missed him getting his first tattoo, missed you miss a lot of these times. And my dad's like 87, so he's not getting any younger, and so it's like that weird impact where you haven't been able to see things, and you really need to see the family again for tons of reasons. Law, probably it's a small ass town. Annabelle. I have no clue where Annabelle, Utah is. Where is Annabelle? Well, it's almost midnight here in Alberta. This lady is off to bed. It's been fun. We'll see you on the web soon. I'll subscribe to your channel if you subscribe to mine, which I'm assuming you have because you're still here. So have a good sleep. I hope she was around to hear that, because that was 2 minutes ago. Her counterclaim was $100 million. Yes. Why was it $100 million? Because it was twice more than Johnny sued her for. Sorry, you pulled a cat lady on you. Made in iron. At least it's not Axtel. Annabelle is 15 minutes from Richfield. Wow. Okay. I, honest to God, have never heard of Annabelle. Well, and I assume people in Annabelle have never heard about my actual hometown, which is Nibley. So yeah, it's a small world to see people from near your hometown here watching you, and that's sort of what I'm waiting for. Like someone to go, dude, what do you? You're a YouTube. I saw your YouTube video. I'm waiting for like the first person from my life, because I haven't told anybody like directly in my life that I'm doing this, because I just want to see how long it takes for someone to catch on. What do you think the jury will give JD if he wins? If he wins, I'm only about 75% convinced that he's going to, which is apparently less than most people think. But again, it has to be a unanimous verdict, and one episode of abuse that's proven to the jury's satisfaction gives him a loss. For damages, if he wins, his damages, I'm kind of 2 minds about what damages might be awarded. I mean, one, because damages are hard to prove usually. I mean, you have to be able to demonstrate that you have suffered actual losses. So what I'm thinking, I mean, either they will say he hasn't really, she was lied. She did defame him, so, but we can't quantify the damages. And what usually happens in a case like that is they'll award $1. I mean, you say, okay, you get $1. So either he'll get something like $1, or what I could see them doing is saying it's pretty much been demonstrated and proven that he lost the Pirates movie because of this. So I could see a judgment being for the amount that he would have earned from that movie. So I think it's going to be $1 or whatever his salary would have been for that movie. Annabelle sounds like a doll I never want. Hi from West Texas. Hi from Korea. You won't recognize Nibley now. If you've been through Nibley, geez, yeah, it's getting up there. There used to be when I was a kid, there was about 2,000 people and about 5,000 cows. Now it's kind of on the verge of being absorbed into the town of Logan. What, if any, reason would you think the jury would not rule in favor of Johnny Depp, despite all the lies Amber has spewed? Well, I mean, that's the problem. He is saying she lied when, about the abuse issue. So if she is able to convince the jurors that he committed one act of SV or SA or DV, then he loses. A single act that they accept and a single act they count as abuse would give him a loss. But again, I don't think he cares if he loses this. This was all done for the public, so he could get his name out in public in a court proceeding where it can't just be seen as him denying and trying to ruin Amber's career. This is in court. This is law. This is evidence. I think that's why he's doing here. I don't really think he cares about the outcome. That's just my personal opinion. Oops, it's actually Annabella, Utah. Still never heard of it. The real question, honestly, is how is Amber going to pay all of this money if she doesn't deserve it? Garnish the wages. If she ever acts again, he can take a chunk of it. But that's presuming she's ever going to act again. Nibley and Logan now butt up against each other with the home. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's getting absorbed by Logan. He should at least get his $14 million back. Yeah, that would be fun too, to get whatever he paid out in his divorce, get it back. That would be fun. If JD leaves that courthouse with $1, I'll be pissed. I hope he gets more, but that's a possibility. The amount of damages are decided by the jury. Yes, they decide yes or no and the damages. Do you think they could charge Amber Heard with anything criminal? Perjury, but that's so hard to prosecute, and it's not worth the court's time to prosecute perjury charge. Like I said, it's almost never prosecuted. But apparently, she might get a perjury charge on her if she shows up in New Zealand. I mean, in Australia. Thank you. I'm in UK, GB, so it's interesting to hear your peeps' way of doing it. Yeah, I should do something about some points of Korean law too. It can be interesting. JD would probably frame that buck on principle. I would. That's what I would do. Well, I've kept everybody here for an hour and 53 minutes now. So however many we're here, we got 37 here now. Thank you so much for for a lot of you that joined during this insanely rambling video. It's just, there was nothing going on in the trial from Thursday that was noteworthy other than the few points we raised. And I just kind of wanted to hang out for a while, but it's 2:00 in the afternoon here, and I've recovered. My headache has gone away. I need to get cleaned up and go out to the beach so I can film and do a blog about the sand sculpting event that's happening over on the beach and put that up. I really appreciate all of you here. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I have to do the grifting thing now. Subscribe, like the videos, hit the notification button, do all the YouTube things that you're supposed to do and say. I have such trouble remembering to even say or ask that, but do it. I loved you guys here, and I plan on being here tomorrow to talk about other things, to go over the last 30 minutes or so of Elaine's attempt to redirect Amber, and we'll hopefully have another little another little time. We're going to go play with some sandcastles now. And thank everybody for being here again. Until next time, enjoy your legal vices. I'm not going to enjoy mine today.